You are listening to the MLS Postgame Show, powered by the Sports Podcasting Network.
Wondolowski settles, drives, he scores! Wondo does it again, 1-1.
Good day, good night, and welcome to the MLS Postgame Show. I'm Kevin Laramee, and week number 2 in Major League Soccer is officially over. LAFC versus Philadelphia just wrapped up, and what a cracker of a game that was. And we'll finish our review with that game, which I guess it's the game of the weekend when you come to think about it with hindsight. But let's start this weekend. Week number 2 started Saturday afternoon. New England versus Chicago at the Gillette Stadium. The Gillette Stadium. Yeah, like there's many. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. It's not Boston. Adam Buxa, Boo, scored his first. My Boo. 28th minute scored the opening goal for the New England Revolution, but Chicago tied it up. Jonathan Bornstein, 70th minute, is first of the season, and it's 1-1. Chicago, not too bad at the beginning of the season. Expected to have a lot of difficulties adjusting to its new, not necessarily environment, but a lot of turnover in the roster. New coach. A lot of new in Chicago. And does it take a lot of time to gel? They almost pull off a surprising result last week in Seattle. Wasn't meant to be. This time they got a draw on the road. Not too bad. Chicago. New England. Haven't won so far in 2020. Bruce Arena's team does have more expectations on them. This year haven't played well last year under Bruce Arena. Now we're seeing New England without a win so far after 2 games, losing to Montreal on the road and losing in their home opener versus the Chicago Fire Football Club. Now, following Chicago and New England, we had Real Salt Lake and New York Red Bull. Interesting game. Yes, it was 1-1. 8 points scored late in the game by Real Salt Lake to salvage a point versus the Red Bulls. Red Bulls scored early and parked the bus. 21 shots for Real Salt Lake, 4 for New York, 64% possession for Real Salt Lake, 36 for New York. It took a while. It almost took 80 minutes, but Damir Kreilach scored the tying goal for Real Salt Lake, and Real Salt Lake found themselves with a draw at home versus the Red Bull in the second week of action in Major League Soccer. Now moving on to Fresco. Let's go to Texas. Toyota Stadium. FC Dallas versus the Montreal Impact. Maxi Urruti facing one of his former Major League Soccer team. Maybe the one, well, not maybe, the one where he had the most amount of success with. FC Dallas. And guess what? Maxi Urruti scored 2 goals versus his former teams. Not the most beautiful goals, but goals where you needed to be positioned at the right spot, the right place, at the right time. Finish the goals, finish the bouncing balls, and the opportunity that you found yourself presented with in the box. And Maxi Urruti at the 59th minute, this one created by Zachary Bourguiard's effort on the right flank as a wing-back. And a 68th minute, that play created by Okonkwo. When Okonkwo came into the game in the second half for Anthony Jackson ML, we saw a different Montreal, and I think that's going to be the preferred, of course, option going forward. It was not by design. Anthony Jackson ML was taken over for Boyan with some muscle sprain, some tightness, maybe a preventive measure heading into the CCL. We'll finish the show by looking at the matchup of Major League Soccer teams in the Concacaf Champions League this week. But Dallas, it wasn't meant to be. Montreal 2-goal lead, it wasn't enough. And just like in Costa Rica, just like against Saprissa, this 2-goal lead wasn't enough. Zdenek Ondrasek on a nice little header play from a aerial ball, and Ricardo Pepi at the 96th minute. 6 minutes into extra time, scored the tying goal for FC Dallas. Is it a point for Montreal, or is it 2 points lost? That's the question. Still, Montreal undefeated under Thierry Henry, the new manager, and 1 win, 3 losses if you count the CCL. One win, 3 draws in the CCL counted. 1 win, 1 draw in Major League Soccer so far. Now let's move to DC United and enter Miami. Ramon Torres got the first red card in the history of Inter Miami at the 54th minute. But before that, 2 minutes in, Rodolfo Pizarro scored its opening goal, his first goal for Inter Miami. And people were like, oh, Miami's going to get his first win on the road at Audi Field. But no, Yamil Assad on a penalty. Of course, at the 59th minute, they were playing with a man up at that time. And Frédéric Brillant, a brilliant goal at the 61st minute to seal the victory for DC United. Now, Toronto FC, NYCFC could have been a bit different. Chara got a goal caught back early in the game, but Chara got first goal later in the game either. That was a great performance by the young striker. His first start for TFC, and he could have scored twice. First one was called for offside, but it was an omen. It was a good omen. He scored the game winner at the 81st minute in a very similar fashion, and TFC win their home opener versus NYCFC in a 1-0 victory at BMO Field. Atlanta United without Josef Martinez for the next long while foreseeable future. Well, we haven't heard anything new, and that probably tells you that we're not going to know for a while. So Atlanta United is starting or continuing the post-Josef Martinez era in Atlanta. And how about a repeat of week number 1? Why not? Barco, Heinemann, both goals. Why not? They score. Atlanta wins 2-1 against Cincinnati. Can Barco and Heinemann continue this level of production of both scoring a goal a game? That's probably not going to happen. But if one of them can, if they alternate, if one of them score a goal a game, and then you have the supporting cast completing that goal production for Atlanta, you might have a winning scenario here. You might not have to spend too much. You might not have to open up the banks too much, even though that's not a problem for Atlanta. There's a salary cap, and there is some mechanism that might prevent you from replacing like for like Josef Martinez, but maybe a combination of production of players you already have, like Heinemann and like Barco, might be what Atlanta actually needs going forward. Now on Soccer Today, which is our flagship show of the Sports Podcast Network. If you don't know, MLS Postgame Show is available also on its own podcast right now. Everywhere you get your podcasts already, on iTunes and everywhere else. As of now, MLS Postgame Show. And if you're listening to this because, well, you subscribe. So thank you for your subscription to the MLS Postgame Show. We hope you enjoy this trip every week down the season of Major League Soccer. Once a week, we're just talking numbers. We're talking goals. We're talking names. Speaking of numbers and name, Minnesota 5, San Jose 2. Minnesota, the Loons, migrating a little westward and southward, going to San Jose. Coming back home with 3 points. Iko Para, 2 goals. 13th minute and 71st minute. And scoop for you, Iko Para will be and is my vote for Major League Soccer Player of the Week for week number 2. Not only the 2-goal performance, he did play well also in the last couple of outings for Minnesota. He is important to this team. This team might be better than we give them credit for. Grigus has played well. Amarella, another great goal and a great performance overall. Robin Ludd scored in extra time of the first half. And Minnesota with a 5-goal first half. Finds it actually 4 goals for the half, 1 in the second half for Iko Para. Great performance on the road for the Loons and Minnesota. A victory And not bad for Minnesota. We'll look at the standings when we finish this show. But Minnesota will be better than the last couple of years. And they're starting to maybe find their true spot in the hierarchy of the Western Conference. Sporting Kansas City, Houston Dynamo. Kansas City, they're back. They're for real. Pulido's the man. 16 minutes in, once again. In the first game, 16 minutes in, he scored the first goal last week. And 16 minutes in, Alan Pulido scores another goal. Sporting Kansas City. We'll see this happen quite often this year. Pulido, Espinoza, Kinda. We're going to see these three names on scoring sheets across Major League Soccer. And oftentimes will be for Kansas City against other teams because they'll be quite devastating in the Western Conference. And for Houston, which Houston Dynamo are they? Are they the Houston Dynamo who come back in a game against the LA Galaxy in week number 1, Chicharito's debut? They come back, they score that tying goal, and boom. Are they that type? They was at home, you're going to tell me. Or are they the type to travel to Kansas City and lose for nothing? Granted, as much as the Dynamo didn't do anything special in that game, Kansas City did. That dominance might have something to do with it. We're talking about a 57% possession, a 531 total passes, 82% pass accuracy, which is ideal. This is the target. And I know it's a stat that people don't put too much credence in. I try to do so. It that tells you, and not a lot. Like we're talking about variance of a few percentages sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't mean anything. But sometimes it does. In a game like this, 82% for Kansas City versus 76% for Houston. We're not looking at a major difference here. But that compared to the passes, mixed with the possession, it kind of tells you a story. And it's only stats and it doesn't mean anything also. But on giving your team an opportunity to win on game-to-game basis and have a concrete discussion with your players if you're a manager, or a concrete discussion between players and setting up targets and reaching achievable goals and having a metric to verify these goals, there's only so much you can do. And that's where my pass accuracy stat is important. That's where my passes are important. And that's where the possession stat is important. It's not on their own. It's part of your system. It's part of your goals, of your growth chart, of what you want to do with your players for the next game. So example, okay? You're Houston. And you wanna get better, of course. Who doesn't? We all want to get better in life, isn't it? The point of it all. But you're Houston, so concretely, you would want to raise your possession percentages. But you're on the road; it's not that bad. But I'm just using this as an example overall for a little tactical talk here. Raise your possession percentage overall. Tactically speaking, is not necessarily the most amazing thing you can do depending of your system. Sometimes you're better off on the counter depending of your roster, your players, their strong points, and there's a lot of things you could do. But as a general rule, if you raise the amount of possession that you have closer to a 50% or higher, means you have the ball more often than the other team, which means that you do save a bit of stamina late in the game. You're not running after the ball as much. But it's also meaning that if your possession is higher, your passing accuracy should be better. Because if you keep possession longer, especially in longer stint, so possession not only in percentage overall, but in 5-minute interval, I think it's also worthy. And I love that we do have that stat in MLSsoccer.com. So it gives a story, but it also gives you an idea of that timeline of every game and where to increase your potential the more accuracy you have in your passing aspect, which should lead you to a higher number of passing. And if you have a higher number of passing, you have a higher percent. So I think those are all related in a way, but it kind of tells you a story, and it gives you sometimes a concrete goal that manager challenges players with, saying, look, let's hit that, and it'll give us a better chance to then reassure our defenses, example, or to not concede goal late in games, which is for sure, theme in Major League Soccer every beginning of the season, in the Concacaf Champions League also, but it is here in the Major League Soccer. We've seen a couple of goals this week, late in games, and last week, of course, Montreal Impact this week against Dallas. So we've seen a few over the last couple of weeks, so that's another thing to keep an eye on, is to tactically make sure you have enough stamina left at the end of the game to be effective. And it might seem simplistic, and of course there's a lot more depth through it all, but sometimes in the beginning of the season it is that simple. Another thing that is quite often that simple in Major League Soccer beginning of the season is Orlando struggles. Colorado 2, Orlando 1. Yunus Namli scored the opening goal for Colorado in the 64th minute. Christopher Mueller answered for Orlando at the 82nd, but Drew Moore, former Toronto FC player, scored at the 90th minute for Colorado, the game winner for the Rapids at home at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. 12 shots for Colorado, 14 for Orlando, 55% possession. We're talking about stats, might as well mention them. 55 for Colorado and 45 for Orlando. 499 passes for Colorado. That's a good stat. And a passing accuracy of 85%. All these things mixed together. That's what we saw of Colorado last year with Robin Fraser at the helm. That cohesiveness, that beginning of an identity and of a mentality of playing football the Colorado Rapids way. And we're seeing this under Robin Fraser so far. And guess what? They're doing better than predicted. And that is often the case in Major League Soccer at the beginning of the season. Everyone starts with 0 points. And that's the beauty of it all. Columbus Crew traveling to Seattle. This was my game of the weekend. Columbus getting a point with Giassi Sardis scoring in the 33rd minute. It could have been even better. It could have been a win, but no. A penalty given to the Seattle Sounders and scored by Raul Ruiz at the 79th minute, the equalizer for the Sounders. At one point, Seattle scored earlier by Miguel Ibarra, but it was called back for offside with VAR. So there is other chances in this game. Columbus played well. Jesse Sardis was not only a goal scorer in the 33rd minute, but it was a danger throughout this game. I do like the Zilla-Ryan combination also. I'm not necessarily as high on Columbus as all the pundits seeing them. Oh, as dark horse. No. Maybe not. Playoff team. Yeah. And that would be almost a shock to me. There's a lot of teams now. A lot of teams vying for a playoff spot. LA Galaxy at home, opening their season at the Home Depot Center. No. We're telling me the StubHub Center. Oh no, wait, it just changed. The Dignity Sports and Health Center. Okay. Oh wait, it just changed. Now the Krispy Kreme. No, I wish it was a Krispy Kreme Center. The amount of people trying to go to that center, I would want to go tomorrow. Krispy Kreme. That would be a great sponsor for a stadium. You can even build a stadium like a donut. Perfect shape for a soccer stadium too. LA Galaxy 0, Vancouver Whitecaps 1 to St. Ricketts, scoring the game winner for the Whitecaps. It's a great response from the Whitecaps. They played better than maybe the result we're saying last week. We're still seeing deficiencies offensively. Or what we're seeing is not finding that easy breakthrough, that easy service to Lucas Cavallini, I guess, for the Whitecaps. But we're not seeing that at all for Chicharito either. Where is Chicharito? Is he somewhere with Carmen Sandiego? That's where, if looking at the games, that's where I've seen him so far. So nowhere. Not easy for Chicharito, and even refused to talk to the media after the second game. It took 2 weeks. The honeymoon is over. Chicharito's honeymoon with the Galaxy is over, and it's 2 weeks in. Congratulations to Mark Dos Santos on his first win of the 2020 season. Manager of the Vancouver Whitecaps, the St. Ricketts Canadiens, scoring for one of the Canadian teams that actually is giving shots to Canadians. It's fun to see. Tybert playing, long time player of the Whitecaps, of course. But seeing the St. Ricketts, seeing player like Lucas Cavallini being featured in this team heavily, it's fun to see Canadians playing for Canadian teams, let me tell you. Portland and Nashville. Portland won, Nashville nothing. Give credit to Nashville. They played a lot better than this no-goal situation. 14 shots, only 4 on target. But they had 52% possession. They were passing a lot. They were accurate. They were playing better than an expansion team. Especially, Nashville might be better than Miami. Wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year Nashville finishes higher than Miami. Who would have thought just a week and a half ago? No one. Everyone was just mystified by the lights and the glamour of Miami and the pink. Apologies. But no, Miami, I'm not that high on Miami. I'm not higher on Nashville. Nashville, of course, they lost again. 2 losses in a row to start their 2020 season. But this one for Portland, yeah, it raises a lot of questions. Diego Valeri scored at the 12th minute. Did not finish the game, subbed out later on, tactically. It doesn't look that happy. The way Portland's playing, first of all, that god-awful jersey. My God, that thing is ugly. With the 3 yellow Adidas stripe. Oh, my Lord. Get that off my TV ASAP. Sorry, this was a fashion minute here on MLS Postgame Show. But Portland won, Nashville nothing. Give credit to Nashville. They earn respect. Nashville will be a fun team to watch this year. They have, they're very Nashville. They're going to work hard. They're going to try hard. They might not very be accurate with the shot, but they're going to try hard. I dig their away jersey also. But Nashville, 14 shots. They should have got a goal in there. Should have got one. They should have got a result on the road. They deserved one. And that's, I guess, a bit unfortunate for Nashville. 2 losses in a row. But they actually earned respect and earned, not necessarily respect like from the fans and everyone, but it's better shown that they're not there just to lay down and to give 3 points away every game. March has arrived, and it's time to score big on the non-stop action with MyBookie. MyBookie is the best place for you to cash in on the insane buzzer beaters, huge upsets, and white-knuckle finishes. They offer live betting on every game, bracket challenges, national championship futures, and more. You can bet on almost anything, including the Democratic nomination, the presidential election, even the name of the next pope. MyBookie caters to all players, whether you research each matchup or you fill out your bracket based on the mascots. MyBookie has something for you. Join now and start winning big today. Sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? MyBookie pays fast when you win. With decades of experience, great customer service, and hassle-free transactions, why would you bet anywhere else? Visit mybookie.ag. Use promo code SPN for a 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code SPN. Bet with the biggest, win with the best. Only at MyBookie. Now, to continue, first of all, thank you to MyBookie for sponsoring this show on the Sports Podcasting Network. On Sunday, we had one more great game to talk about, and I left some time in this show to talk about this game because it was a cracker of a game of the week. If there's one that you need to either go on your DVR because you recorded it was on FS1 in the States and it was on TSN here in Canada, go back to your DVR, watch that LAFC Philly game. You'll thank me later. A fun 90 minutes of soccer. Well, more than 90 minutes. There was 8 minutes of stoppage time in the first half because of injury to the head to Andre Blake and to Martinez of Philly. So that did take a lot of time, but it was what a game. First of all, a couple of great goals by LAFC. That cracker, that goal of the week by Jakob Glesnes, the beginning of the second half, and was it in the second half? I can't remember. It's 48th minute, but there was 2 48th minutes in this game. Anyways, it doesn't matter at this point. Jakob Glesnes, there's a free kick. It's about 38 yards. Like, easy 38 yards. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not trying to make it sound nicer than it is. I don't need you. I don't care. Like, it's nothing personal. It's about 38 yards. And, like, the center back is lining up for it. Then Stu Olden, he's on the commentary, on the color commentary for Fox. Like, I think he's lining up to shoot. I think he's lining it up to shoot. And then we're seeing he steps up, hits that shot. It doesn't move. It's a knuckleball. It's straight. It floats. And it's like on target to where Vermeer is, but it's going left and it's like going towards the corner, but it only starts moving once it hits like the 18-yard box. So he hits that thing from 38 yards, a slow-moving upward rocket, not moving too much, just dipping and curling once it gets to the 18-yard box. Vermeer starts to move to try to stop it. Nothing he can do. Goes right in the upper corner. And that's a go-ahead goal. And a minute later, Diego Rossi turns around, scores another one. That's a cracker of a game. I'm telling you. And then Brandon Aronson, after just being named on the Olympic qualifier team for the United States, scores at the 69th minute. Eddie Segura turns around, scores for LAFC. 2 minutes later, no one had even time to finish the celebrations. And it was goal after goal, cracker goals, rocket shot. Diego Rossi called, I think it was 1 or 2 goals, go back for offside in this game. He's the new Marco De Vaio. But his timing is very close, and he's going to be on a couple times, and he's going to score a couple times. Scored a nice curler to the right, far post with his right foot also. For Diego Rossi, second goal for LAFC. Carlos Vela scoring on a free kick also. Let's not forget, because we're all talking about Jakob Glesnes and his free kick, but Carlos Vela scored a golazo before that on a free kick also. 38th minute to tie the game up after a great goal and another golazo by Sergio Santos to begin the damn thing. Like Rudy Schuler, friend of the show, says on Twitter, bangers only during this game between Philadelphia and LAFC. 1-1, fair result in this game. Worthy game. Go watch it again. It's a fun one. It's a fun one to end your weekend. There's nothing quite like MLS After Dark. And that game qualifies at MLS After Dark. Yes, it does. And it's early to start looking at the standings. Well, let's just look quickly at the standings. Eastern Conference, Atlanta first, 2 wins, 6 points. New York Red Bulls second with 4 points. Montreal Impact are also third with 4 points, but virtually identical as the Red Bulls. So they're equal on second. Toronto FC fourth on 4 points. Same for Columbus Crew. Fifth, DC United 6th. And the Chicago Fire Football Club 7th. In the Eastern Conference, those are your 7 clubs that would take part in playoffs if they were starting tomorrow. But there's 32 more games to play for each club. New England 8, Orlando 9, Philadelphia 10. Philadelphia deserves a whole lot better. They are a very good team. They are a whole lot better team than 10. So something's going to give. Someone of Chicago, DC, Columbus, TFC, Montreal is going to fall down for sure, the standings, because Philly is going to go up. One team that might not go up at all, FC Cincinnati 11th right now. Inter Miami 12th. Another really good team that is not going to finish the season dead last in the Eastern Conference is NYCFC. Unfortunate what they have been going through. They are a better team than their result in Major League Soccer so far. Maybe some of their attention is already focused a bit too much on the Concacaf Champions League, and we'll see if that has any, I would say, longing effect during the season. If they start struggling in the league and don't go far in the Concacaf Champions League, it's like trying to chase two rabbits. You know what happens. You chase two rabbits. Oftentimes, you're not going to catch any. Yep, trying to catch two rabbits at once. You see two rabbits trying to run after both. Both are going to run away from you. If you single out one and you start to run after one, you might get it. Or you might not, because catching a rabbit is quite hard. Sporting Kansas City, top of the Western Conference, 2 wins, 6 points. Same for Minnesota, 6 points, 2 wins, but a 5-goal differential with a goal for, but 3 goals against. Kansas City only conceded once in their opening game only, and have scored 7 goals so far in 2 games for a +6 differential. Colorado, 6 points also, in 3rd position in the Western Conference. FC Dallas 4th with 4 points. LAFC 5th. Seattle Sounders 6th, both with 4 also. And Portland 7th with 3 points. Portland are like a team that's like on a fast car that's still part of like the main pack of the race, but that you're seeing like something start to break on the team, but that hasn't broken yet. And you're just gonna see, can it hold on with them? Can it hold on another week? That's Portland. Will they be able to hold on in their point tally and continue to be a playoff team in 32 weeks' time? That is the tough question for Portland. And even the fans in the stands don't seem that excited about the 2020 version of the Portland Timbers. Vancouver Whitecaps in 8th position with 3 points. RSL 9th. LA Galaxy 10th. The San Jose Earthquake 11th. The Houston Dynamo 12th. And the new kids on the block still not part of the cool crew. Still being ostracized. Bottom of the West with no points. 1 goal. 3 goals allowed. -2 after 2 games for Nashville Soccer Club. Concacaf Champions League is back. It is upon us. The quarterfinals are here. They're starting on Tuesday. Montreal Impact versus CD Olympia at the Olympic Stadium. Wednesday, NYCFC versus Tigres. Club America versus Atlanta on Tuesday. And Thursday, LAFC Cruz Azul on Thursday. So Montreal Olympia at the Olympic Stadium. I will be present for this game, and it should be a cracker one. Montreal is not heavy, but is a favorite in this matchup. If you look at CD Olympia, their player, a couple of names that are familiar to Major League Soccer fans. Of course, you'll find Jerry Bankston, former New England Revolution player. You'll find Maidana, former Houston Dynamo player. Quirinos and Fiores, who were part of the Whitecap systems back in the day, a couple of years ago. So there is some links to Major League Soccer with City Olympia. We're talking about not today's Major League Soccer. Montreal Impact is the favorite here. NYCFC and Tigres on Wednesday evening at 8. Tigres is a good team. NYCFC is not the favorite here. The Mexican Giant is a favorite. Speaking of Mexican Giant, that's a cracker of a matchup. Club America, Atlanta United, Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Live from Estadio Azteca. a bucket list type of stadium. If you've never been, and it's my once a year, I mentioned that I've been to Club America's game. I was there in 2015. What a stadium. What an experience. And it's not your older brother's Azteca with the barbed wire everywhere. There's still some, not as many. There's still a moat, so that's quite fun. And to get to the pitch, you have to, first of all, you can only go to the pitch if the small foldable metal bridges or pass rail or just like, I guess a small bridge. They're there. If not, there's a moat and it's like 2 meters high and there's a bunch of trash, yes, but also sand and water, ugly water, probably like things living in there, I imagine. Don't want to know. I know there's things living in that stadium because there's a lot of smells in that stadium. There's a lot of things in there that I might not want to know. So that's fun. The moat at the Estadio Azteca. But Club America, Atlanta United, Wednesday night will be a fascinating one. And LAFC Cruz Azul, Thursday, is another fascinating one. LAFC is having some injury problems. They cannot necessarily have a rotation the way they would want to prioritize both competition to the same level. They have to play their best 11 almost every game now. They don't have the choice. So LAFC Cruz Azul will be another fascinating matchup. 4 MLS teams left in the quarterfinals. How many will be left in 2 weeks? At least, we'll know. There might be a chance for 1, maybe 2. But if you have to ask me now, Montreal might be the only MLS team left standing after the quarterfinals. But maybe LAFC can beat Cruz Azul. That's my prediction. Montreal beats Olympia. LAFC beat Cruz Azul. Tigres walks over NYCFC and reminds everyone that it's Tigres. And Club America just squeaks out a win against Atlanta at the Benz next week. That's my prediction for the Concacaf Champions League. But on that note, we'll be back next week on the MLS Postgame Show. We hope you enjoyed Week 2. Week 3 will be upon us sooner rather than later. But as always, until next time, I'm Kevin Laramee, and have a great soccer.